Good day, ma'am. I am Ahin James B. Valio, and today we will present our final project in GCS 102 entitled Simple ATM Banking System. It is a menu-driven C program that simulates basic ATM functions such as depositing money, withdrawing money, checking balance, and viewing the number of transactions. The purpose of this program is to simulate real-life situations that people experience when using ATM machines. These projects helps users understand how basic financial transactions work in a computer system. It is simple, yet practical and realistic because ATM systems are commonly used in everyday life. In this program, the user starts with a balance of 0 using a menu. They can select different options. First is deposit money, second, withdraw money, third, check balance, fourth, show transaction count, and the last, exit the program. The users can perform multiple transactions until they choose to exit. All inputs are validated to make sure that incorrect values will not crash the program. The program includes data validation. For example, the user cannot deposit or withdraw negative amounts. Second, the user withdraw more than the available balance. If the user enters a wrong menu or option, an error message appears and the menu is shown again. Our program uses all the required control structures, such as sequence, selection, and looping. The program starts by displaying the menu. The user chooses an option and the program responds based on the choices. After each transaction, the menu reappears. The program only stops when the user selects exit.
Hello everyone, I'm General Mertabilaran. Today, I'm talking about through this flowchart, which represent the logic of a simple menu-driven banking program. So we begin at the start. From there, the program moves to display menu, where the user is shown all available options. The first decision is checks. If option equal to 0, if the user enters 0, the program immediately goes to stop, so ending session. If the option is not 0, we continue to display menu from 0 to 4, where the user asks for menu again. Next, the program checks option is less than 0. If the user enters a negative number, that's invalid. So it routes into the left sides of the chart for error code. If the option greater than 0, the program continues alongside and the right side. On the left branch, the program checks is option 1. If the option 1 is not 1, if the option is not 1, it checks option 4. If the option 4 is, the program goes to show balance, displaying the current account balance. If it's none of these options, it is considered as an invalid input, and the program sends the user back to retry. After valid processing, such as deposit, the program asks, is amount less than 0? So if so, the input is invalid and the user's prompt to enter a valid amount. Once a correct amount is entered, the program shows the transaction count and loops back to the main menu. On the right side of the flowchart, the program checks option 2. If it proceeds to enter the withdrawal or transaction select section. If not, it checks option 3, which leads to show transaction count. letting the user see the total number of completed transactions. If option 2 is selected, the program checks amount is greater than balance. This prevents overdrawing the account. If the amount is greater than the available balance, the program displays an error loops back to the transaction menu. Both left and right path ultimately return to the main menu. This allows the users to continue performing actions until they eventually choose option 0, at which point the program stops.
Good evening everyone, my name is Charles Melbert Fulgarinas and I will discuss this code and begins by including the standard input-output.h. It can print messages and read user input and then creates two global variables, balance to store the account balance starting at 0 and transaction counts is to count all the deposits and withdrawals. Several helper functions are declared so that main can call them when needed. Inside the main function, a variable name choice stores the user's menu selection and a do while repeats the main until the user enters a 0 to exit. Each time the loop runs, the program prints the menu options and asks the user to enter the choice. The program checks if the user entered a number and if not, it shows an error, clears the input buffer, and restarts the menu. A switch statement handles the user's input by calling the correct functions where choosing 1 calls deposit money, choosing 2 calls withdrawal money, choosing 3 calls check balance, choosing 4 calls show transaction, and choosing 0 ends the program with a goodbye message while any other number shows an invalid choice message. In the deposit function, the user is asked for an amount. The program checks if it is valid.
Rejects non-positive values. Checks if there are enough funds. Subtract the amount from the balance if allowed. Increase the transaction count and shows the updated balance. The balance check functions simply. Displays the current balance. And the transaction count function shows how many deposits and withdrawals have been made. The input buffer clearing function removes leftover characters, so the next input works properly. Finally, when the user selects 0, the loop stops and the program ends normally. Good evening everyone, my name is Bel Joseph Legari and today we discuss the simple ATM banking system. The program is showing the ATM menu on the screen. It lists all the choices. You can pick deposit money, withdraw money, check your balance and show how many transactions you've done, or exit the program. After showing the menu, it asks you to type a number for your choice. First, we need to deposit money. Let's type 5,000 pesos and click enter. Second, let's try to withdraw some of our deposited money. We will withdraw 2,500 pesos. Third, let's check our balance. So as you can see, our balance is half of the money we deposited, 2,500 pesos. Fourth, we need to see how many transactions we've made. And we made 2 transactions lately. Lastly, after we did all the options above, it's time to exit by just typing 0. And that's it. Thank you.